Hi, I wanted to create a little video where I could show you what it's like to use a Claude skill, and then we're going to compare that to working with ChatGPT because it's also very, very good to get something done. And I had somebody ask the other day, do I think the curriculum builder Claude skill that I built is really any different or better than working directly with ChatGPT to do it? And my answer was yes. But I thought, that's a really legitimate question. And so let's give this a try and let me record the differences between the responses that we get so you can kind of see for yourself if Claude Skills is something that you want to mess with. And of course, this is just one example out of many, many examples. But one that I haven't even tested yet really is the brainstorming skill that I built with Claude Code. So I'm going to try that. And we are going to try and brainstorm a new offer, let's say. I'm not really building a new offer, but it might be fun to build one. So let's say that I am actually, you know what? I'm going to tailor this to business, like B2B. So let's say I'm an AI consultant, a strategist, and I have an opportunity with the business, and I want to be able to go in there and kind of sit down with them and show them the possibilities with AI, what it can do for them, and eventually, come back and create a proposal to help them maybe implement AI or some kind of an AI strategy in their business. So that'll be our brainstorming session. So let me make myself smaller. And I'm going to first start with ChatGPT, and I got 5.1 up here. Hey, Chat, help me brainstorm an idea here. I have an idea of approaching a business like a transportation style business, that I have background in transportation. And I've noticed that the transportation industry as a whole is pretty behind the eight ball when it comes to AI. So a lot of places have not implemented really anything yet. They don't have any company policies around it. Their employees might be bringing a few tools to work, but really they don't have anything going on, and they may not even realize that it's necessary. I think that's a big part of it. I think maybe some of their upper, C-level executives are kind of using it themselves a little bit, but they don't really envision it as an overall strategy for their company. So I'd like your help in creating something, maybe a process I can take them through, or how could I meet with these people to talk to them about AI and give them ideas of how it might be helpful for them in their business. So this would be like an initial meeting to get the conversation going, plant some ideas in their head, and then I could come away from that conversation after kind of learning where they're at. A big part of that is going to be what kind of data do they already have. Some companies are better than others at capturing their own data, but then coming back with a proposal of how I can help them begin to implement AI strategically throughout their business, not all at once, but one step at a time. Okay, that was a bit of a mouthful, but I'm going to copy this because we can also use it with the Claude skill. And let's throw that one in there. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to tell Claude that I want to brainstorm an idea using the brainstorm skill you have access to. Here's my brain dump on it. And then I will just paste that there. We'll throw that in there. We'll come back over here and kind of see what ChatGPT is up to. Okay, let's see. Transportation Discovery Framework, 60 to 90-minute conversation that plants and seeds and positions you as a long-term advisor. So it's kind of giving me the setup of phase one, set up the stage for 5 minutes. Phase two, the 3-pillar assessment. So I'm going to walk them through the 3 pillars. Are employees already dabbling? Is there a policy? Do people know what's allowed, not allowed? What's your biggest fear? And then we'll talk a little bit about internal operations and automation opportunities. So, gives me some good questions to ask. This is actually really good. Customer experience and competitive advantage. This is where you shine because you've lived on the customer side. Okay, so where do customers... It gives me ideas of questions to ask them to get the right information. So phase 3 is going to be data discovery. This is where you gently gauge their sophistication without making them feel behind. That's important. So just asking them, like, what data are you already collecting? Where are you collecting it? What's the accuracy of it? And then phase 4, visualization of the future, 10 minutes. Here's how you paint a picture they never thought of. So then I'm going to start to paint that picture of, geez, what could be possible with AI, knowing what I know about them now. And then the stair-step roadmap. Do not offer a huge implementation. You present a simple staircase. Everything's kind of broken down into smaller steps. And then what you leave with, by the end of this meeting, you'll have their readiness level, their situation, their pain points, which department's the first win, executive buy-in, and a clear opening for a proposal. Then, this is actually really good, deliverables you can offer after the meeting. So it's giving me some 4 different options of types of offers that I could come up with for them that they might want to do. So then it's asking if I want it to do any of these other lovely things. So very nice. And let's go over and just see how this differs, if it's any better, if it's worse. So it's using this brainstorming skill. I don't know why I can't see my camera doesn't pop up on this page. I apologize about that. So brainstorming progress. First one is understanding. Purpose, constraints, criteria gathered. The phase 2 is going to be exploration. The phase 3 is going to be design presentation. Phase 4 is design documentation, the framework that's written and ready to use. So this isn't just, so first thing I notice is ChatGPT just pretty much gave me everything all at once, didn't ask me any clarifying questions. This skill is asking me some further questions. So let's clarify my primary objective. Are you creating a one-time consultation? Is it paid? Define the scope, develop an ongoing relationship retainer model, or build a hybrid approach where you do an initial assessment and then offer implementation packages based on what you find. So I think a hybrid approach is really what I'm going for. I mean, ideally, I'd like to develop an ongoing relationship retainer model. But first, the initial assessment will set me up to be able to offer something like that, because I do think that they're going to need to implement this over time and not all at once. All right, so we'll send that off. Okay, so that says, makes perfect sense. We've got some more questions. When you walk into these initial meetings, how do you want to position yourself? Okay, transportation insider. Let's see, let me read over these. Consultant who understands transportation, transportation insider who's become an AI implementation specialist, dual track professional offering a unique blend. I think I'd like to go with the transportation insider who's become an AI implementation specialist. So leading with 28 years in the transportation industry, and then AI has really evolved my skill set to help me know more specifically where it's useful in the field of, transportation. And I think that one pain point that we can reference during this at some point is that the problem is we have people who are really familiar with what AI can do, but they're not familiar with the business model. And then we've got the people inside the business who are very familiar with the business model, but they're not familiar with what AI can do. And we really need to combine that so that we've got somebody who is familiar with what AI can do and is familiar with the business model. And I think that's where I can help. So this is asking more context, whereas ChatGPT, again, gave us quite a bit. It was a great outline, but didn't ask for any context. So I'm really curious to see how this does, if it's any better because of this or not. Keep having to toggle back and forth of this Loom thing to get my controls for some reason. Okay, so I answered, that question, and then it came back with excellent positioning, the gap you identified is your entire value proposition in one sentence. So that's the bridge only you can build. Okay, so addressing practical constraint. Okay, so it's asking, because Claude, knows about me, and I don't actually currently work for Linden Transport, but in any case, it's saying that I do. So I'm going to say, we're just brainstorming this as kind of like hypothetical. So let's not worry about getting explicit blessing from my employer. Actually, you know what? Let's do it this way. since I am currently working for a transportation company that I just started with, maybe like if given the opportunity, I'm not going to go in there and just pitch my AI implementation. I don't think they're ready for that. But if given the opportunity, and I do have one, let's say it's for the company that I do work for, and I see areas where AI can help us improve. So that is going to change it a little bit. So I'm going to delete this first point. And because I realize, as it's asking me these questions, this is why these questions are important, because that is an important question to answer. So now it might give me a very different approach than if I was just a consultant going into a company. And ChatGPT wouldn't know that because, it didn't dig that deep to ask. Okay, so now it's like, okay, got it. You're building a framework you can deploy opportunistically, starting with your potential current employer if the door opens. Yes, exactly. Okay, so next question about scope and implementation. Operation AI tools for individual roles. Okay, so what level am I primarily targeting? Strategic management level, full stack approach. Okay. So for this employer, I know that they're going through a lot of transitions, and I know that some of their C-level people are using AI like ChatGPT and things like that for strategy. But other than that, they really don't use it at all. So I see opportunities to even, do certain things like for onboarding and employee training, getting data together so that people can look up things within the company and not have to ask somebody. I see a lot of opportunity with sales because that's the department I'm in, and ways that I can use AI to help me with sales and negotiating contracts, etc., researching competition, tracking down potential clients, all of the stuff that I use AI for. So I think that there's that. It's sort of like every use case is going to be different depending on the department, but also that they need to have a policy in place because right now they do have confidential information, but they really don't have any policies about what's allowed as far as what you can use and what you can't use. They don't have like an enterprise level Claude or ChatGPT that, us as employees can work with. And I think that that might be a great place to start. So that was a little bit rambly, but we'll throw that out there, see what happens. I'll pause this. Well, it's going pretty quickly. Maybe I won't have to pause it. So it's thinking about it, cataloging gaps. Perfect. Okay. The lack of governance and infrastructure. Now let's talk about the initial assessment meeting structure. When you sit down for that first conversation, what do you most need to learn to come back with a solid proposal? So do I need to know the current state? Yes. I would already kind of know this for my own job, but I may need to learn that from other people in their positions. Strategic priorities, yes. Data readiness, yes. I would say all of the above in a structured discovery process. All of the above in a structured discovery process would be great. Okay, as you can see, it takes a little more time, but that's because it's trained to do that. It's trained to extract all the information it needs to provide a great output, Okay, so next question about deliverables. After you complete it, what do you want to present back to them? Written assessment report, strategic presentation, proposal with packages, combination approach. I think I'd like a strategic presentation, and then, based on that, just a pretty simple proposal. And maybe instead of 3 tiers of engagement, because this is with my current employer, this could be suggested tiers of implementation instead of tiers of engagement. And let's just keep, for now, if this were a different company, yes, we're going to need to add, how much I want to charge for the service. But let's say if I'm just trying to help the current company I work for, let's not do it in terms of money. Let's do it in terms of me showing my value as an employee first, and then, showcasing that I have skills to help them with that. And that might open other doors. Okay. I have a feeling that our presentation is going to look very different at the end of this. Because honestly, when I asked ChatGPT the same question over here, or I gave him the same brain dump, it didn't occur to me to tell it what business I was talking about, whether it be my company or other companies. It just didn't occur to me. So it didn't ask me. And so it just made some assumptions, I guess is the word I'm looking for. So here, Claude is not making any assumptions. Smart approach for essentially building an internal business case that could lead to an official AI strategy role. Okay. Um, since you're doing this alongside your full-time sales role, how much time can you realistically dedicate to this? Quick turnaround, thorough but efficient, deep dive when ready. Let's try a quick turnaround. And wait, I want to read this. Also, are you thinking of doing this discovery formally or more organically? Let's go with the quick turnaround and let's do it more formally as if, we agreed to meet in a couple of weeks after the initial discussion and just go over my findings and suggestions. Okay, so we have two clear meeting structures, discovery session, and then presentation and findings. Okay, so what does successful outcome? Executive buy-in, green light on a pilot project, you become the internal AI lead, a combination, time, politics, technical complexity, proving ROI. Okay, so these are what's my biggest concern or constraints down here. I would say probably technical complexity. I think that would keep them simple enough so that non-technical people can still understand it, and then proving ROI. And then up here, I think executive buy-in. I would say a combination. Okay, so for the first part, what does success look like? I think that would be kind of a combination. So yes, buy-in on AI governance, at least agreeing that they need these things. It'd be awesome if we could get approval for enterprise tools and then maybe green light on a pilot project. Maybe that is just getting enterprise tools and then helping people learn how to work with these. And maybe we come up with a place where we can keep certain prompts for certain departments and things like that we've determined work really well. So it's kind of like instead of everybody doing their own thing, we get this organized and that compounds and makes everybody save time and be more successful. And yes, becoming the internal AI lead would be amazing. And then as far as my biggest concern or constraint, I'm going to say that would be technical complexity and proving ROI. Okay, we'll push that through. And then I think that we're going to have a much better outcome. It's going to be much more detailed. It's going to be very different. So I feel like so far, we'll see what we get. Perfect. You want to keep it accessible, brainstorming progress. Okay. Oh my, that was all phase 1 and now we're on to phase 2. So this is very comprehensive. I can only imagine what we're going to get. So I'm just going to keep going. Okay. Propose. Now that I know what you're building, let me propose 3 different approaches for how to structure your discovery process and presentation. Each has different strengths depending on your company's culture. Okay. Let's see. Option A, risk-first governance. Start by documenting current AI usage. Identify data exposure. Presentation lead. Here's the risk. So this is more like risk first. So let's address our risks. Option B is a quick wins tactical approach. Shadow different departments, document repetitive tasks and pain points, identify 3 to 5 high impact use cases. So that's more like, okay, let's see how we can start using this now. And ROI would be the measurable time savings. And then option C would be a strategic transformation approach. Interview leadership about 12 to 24 month business goals, access current tech stack and data systems. So this is like, here's where the industry's headed with AI. So this is more of a broader strategic approach. So I'm kind of torn between B and C. And again, these are things I never would have thought of if I was just going in with this one, this one thing to do everything. So let me see. Best for visionary, forward-thinking leadership, companies facing competitive pressure. Best for action-orientated, results-driven leadership, companies that want to see it working before investing, and executives who respond. I'm really torn here, but I'm going to go with option B. I feel kind of torn here, but I think I'm going to go with option B. And you can see it suggested option A or B. Oh, I'm going with option B. Not sure why it didn't take that on my whisper, but that's okay. All right, so it's going to think about this. So that was phase 2, and it was that quick. Okay, great. Now we're on to phase 3, the design presentation. So it's actually going to help me design the presentation, you guys. This is wild to me. Okay, so telling me who needs to be there. 90 to 120 minutes, your opening frame. I'd like to spend 90 minutes understanding discovery questions for sales, for operations, for customer service, for HR training. This looks great. This looks awesome. Okay, so let's move to the analysis phase. Okay, so here it's going to tell me, how to actually do the phase where I'm working on the analysis, so I can come back with something for them. Gosh, I'm sorry that you can't see this. Let me see if I can fix this. Well, there's my picture, but it's not my face. I don't know why it doesn't work that way. Anyway, I'll have to figure out my Loom issues, but hopefully you're still getting what you need from this. Step 2 is identifying the 3 to 5 quick wins. Okay. Step 3, mapping AI solutions. Step 4 is calculating the ROI. I'm going to say yes. That makes perfect sense. It's asking, do I want a template spreadsheet or something more structured? And for now, for this demonstration, I'm just going to go with this in the interest of time, but I'm sure that I could have it do that if I wanted to. Okay, so now we're delivering the actual presentation. So it's giving me all the slides. I think I've proven my point on the case study as far as using ChatGPT versus a Claude skill that's professionally highly trained on one specific skill set. It's pretty mind-blowing. So I'm just going to say, looks great. So we can keep moving this along here. Okay, so let's cover the final piece of the design. The post-presentation implementations, what happens after they say yes? And then it's just walking me through the 60-day pilot structure. So I've gone from a brain dump to pretty much a full, complete strategy that is way different than what I had here from ChatGPT. And again, it's not like ChatGPT's was bad, but you can see the difference of using a Claude skill that is taught to extract all of the information that's really, really relevant to make sure that this really makes sense for you and what you're doing. So there you have it. If you have any questions, let me know. If you are new to my channel and you're watching this on YouTube, hit subscribe and I'll be sharing more things like this. It's really my goal to help everybody use AI to work smarter, not harder. And I think there's so much out there on the table that most people haven't even tapped into yet because we're just kind of using AI and ChatGPT as, a brainstorming partner like I just showed you in this part, instead of like really getting, down in the weeds or into the weeds and really using AI in a much more focused and strategic way. So thank you. I'll see you next time.